This man was removed from his high-ranking position over a sexual scandal. But people are asking, was this really a sexual scandal, or was it a political conspiracy? The controversial lawyer, Karim Khan, was removed from his position after issuing arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister, saying that he would bring them before the court over alleged crimes committed in Gaza.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international.
Because of this, many people have linked the case to politics. The allegations against him, however, were related to a sexual scandal involving a beautiful young woman. A young court employee known as Sarah accused Prosecutor Khan of touching and groping her in the office and sexually assaulting her without her consent. These allegations made the case highly controversial. In connection with this case, Sarah, who claimed that she had suffered serious sexual assault beyond inappropriate sexual touching, was given a short interview by the well-known journalist Christiane Armand.
But it didn't start that way, because it was kind of like encroachments on the boundaries slowly, not just physically, but emotionally as well.
However, during the interview, Sarah did not appear to provide what could be considered a clear and adequate explanation of the alleged sexual assault. People who watched the interview were heard arguing, "No, there is a political conspiracy behind this. This was designed to attack Mr. Khan. You cannot hide something as big as this." Many people also argue that Khan was caught up in a sexual scandal and forced out of office because he had issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister in connection with the Palestinian issue. The famous British lawyer Khan had been on leave since May of last year while defending himself against the allegations brought against him. The Bar Standards Board of the United Kingdom had also suspended him while it conducted its own investigation into the matter. The man was considered a controversial figure. Before this, the International Criminal Court had been criticized for pursuing and prosecuting African leaders and certain leaders in Eastern Europe on criminal charges. Because of this, there had been complaints saying, before the court talks about justice and accountability, it must first establish fairness and justice within its own institution. As this question continued to be raised again and again, the lawyer Khan appeared to take the position that the court should not only target small fish, but should also bring powerful people before the court of justice in order to address the accusations of unfairness against the institution. In this way, in connection with the war in Ukraine, the court issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that he was wanted by the court. At that time, Western countries strongly reacted. They began demanding that if Putin left Russia and entered countries that had signed the Rome Statute establishing the court, he should be arrested and handed over. The message was clear: we will pursue Putin wherever he goes. For a country to arrest someone wanted internationally by the court, two things are generally important. First, the country must be a member of the court, meaning it must have signed and ratified the Rome Statute, the founding treaty of the International Criminal Court. Second, the person wanted under the arrest warrant must enter that country's territory. In this way, people wanted by the ICC may face arrest if they travel to countries that are parties to the ICC and have obligations under the Rome Statute. However, there have been cases where one or two leaders entered ICC member countries even after arrest warrants had been issued against them, and then left again. One of them was former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. The other was Russian President Vladimir Putin. When Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir traveled to South Africa to attend an African Union summit, there were significant efforts and political pressure to have him arrested. This happened in Johannesburg in 2015. However, following the controversy that developed at the time, al-Bashir reportedly left South Africa quickly after concerns were raised about his possible arrest. After that, Russian President Vladimir Putin, who also had an ICC arrest warrant issued against him, traveled to another ICC member country, Mongolia. There, he made a relaxed visit and later returned home.
Putin is visiting Mongolia today, despite an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court.
After these developments, the ICC turned its attention toward Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The court issued an arrest warrant against the Prime Minister, saying, in effect, "We are seeking you in connection with alleged crimes committed in Gaza. Arrest him wherever he is found." The arrest warrant issued in 2024 was connected to allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity that the ICC prosecutor said had been committed in relation to the war in Gaza. The person who issued and publicly read this strong and firm statement was none other than the prosecutor himself, Karim Khan.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international.
The arrest warrant did not target only Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It also included former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. When considered separately, the crimes alleged by the prosecutor against the Israeli officials are serious offenses. At this point, some people praised the ICC, saying, "Now, finally, the ICC is proving that it is truly an institution of justice." Others, however, strongly condemned the court. Meanwhile, former U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli officials launched strong attacks against the ICC. At one point, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that the United States would openly fight to dismantle the International Criminal Court. At that time, the ICC prosecutor was the famous British lawyer Karim Khan, who has now left his position amid the sexual scandal. Many people even began making personal threats against him. The media campaign against him continued to intensify. In addition, the Trump administration imposed sanctions on Khan and restricted his ability to enter the United States. The media and diplomatic campaign against him continued to grow stronger. It was also reported that the process was placing enormous psychological pressure on the lawyer. Eventually, he became the subject of widespread attention and criticism, with reports saying that he was suspected of being involved in a serious sexual scandal. In connection with the sanctions, Khan was unable to attend a vote at the United Nations headquarters in New York concerning the case against him. Meanwhile, information about Khan himself began to emerge. The information was related to the sexual scandal. The court's oversight body accused prosecutor Khan of having engaged in inappropriate sexual conduct with a new employee and, beyond that, of attempting to suppress or interfere with the employee's complaint. These were serious allegations of sexual misconduct. Considering the high position he held, the allegations were seen as extremely serious. Meanwhile, the controversy continued. The media campaign against him became even stronger. Under intense pressure, Khan announced, "No, I need to take a break." At the same time, voices calling for him to step aside from his position became louder, with people arguing that the matter should be properly investigated and that the investigation into Khan should continue independently. Representatives of the member states then met behind closed doors. Out of 125 countries, 82 reportedly voted in favor of Khan stepping down from his position, saying that he should no longer continue in the role. Khan had been appointed as the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court in 2021, 5 years ago. His term was supposed to last for 9 years. However, he was removed in his 5th year. Beyond the sexual scandal that Khan was accused of being involved in, it was also said that he had been under enormous pressure because of political tensions. Now, his removal has become a reality. It is being described as a major decision. But beyond Khan's removal, the political controversy continues. Donald Trump and the ICC have never had a friendly relationship. They have repeatedly clashed. Trump has taken a firm position that the ICC is a dangerous institution and should be dismantled. The United States is not among the countries that signed the Rome Statute, the treaty that established the International Criminal Court. According to a BBC report, the Trump administration launched a full government campaign aimed at gradually dismantling the International Criminal Court. In addition to the visa restrictions imposed on the ICC prosecutor, preventing him from entering the United States. The Trump administration also warned that it could impose further restrictions involving assets. Meanwhile, another shocking development emerged from New York in connection with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the ICC. The mayor of New York said that if Netanyahu came to New York, he would have him arrested based on the ICC arrest warrant issued against him. This statement sparked another major controversy. The mayor was identified as Zoran Mamdani, a member of the Democratic Party.
I believe that the warrant that the International Criminal Court has placed upon Benjamin Netanyahu is one that should be honored.
Zoran Mamdani also said that the international arrest warrant should be respected. The mayor's statement reportedly angered both Netanyahu and Trump. In connection with this, Fox News asked Netanyahu a question. People are saying that if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he could be arrested. What do you think? Will you be afraid and stay away, or will you come? Netanyahu responded by criticizing Mayor Zoran Mamdani, saying, "I have nothing to worry about. When the time comes, I will come."
No, I'm not concerned, and I certainly intend to do so. I've appeared just about every year, not every year, but almost every year in my prime ministership, unless there are security conditions. But barring that, and I don't expect that to be the case this time.
Netanyahu's trip to New York is expected to take place in connection with the annual United Nations General Assembly, which will begin in the coming weeks. The controversy has emerged because the headquarters of the United